Story 1. Garbage collection is an unpleasant but vital job that cannot be outsourced and pays very well, while requiring only a high school diploma. Fly high on wings made of trash. Story 2. I saw a thread on Reddit the other day about septic tank maintenance and cleaning. Apparently, it is low stress and very high paying. The obvious downside remains. Story 3. The wealthiest man I know without a college degree owns a pest control business. Story 4. I work in carton manufacturing. We make $25 or more per hour as operators. I have been with my employer for 7 years, and I make $36 per hour. Printers can make $45 or more, and even more as a first pressman. Story 5. Railroad. You will not have much of a life outside the job, and you will probably collect divorces like Thanos collects Infinity Stones. However, you can make $100,000 pretty easily once you have a little seniority. Story 6. I have seen this posted before. An important question to ask is, what pays well, does not require a college degree, and is limited to 40 hours per week? Story 7. I was making $26 an hour as a forklift driver at a deep freezer facility. My job was mostly waiting for people to palletize boxes of fish and then driving each pallet into storage. I would wait about 20 minutes on my phone, drive a pallet in for 2 minutes, and then wait again. Story 8. I make $83,000 to $115,000 a year as a mail carrier. I went to school even though I did not need to. There are other jobs at the post office that also exceed $100,000 after time served. United States Postal Service careers. Story 9. The United States government publishes data from the United States Bureau of Labor Statistics that helps answer that question directly. Story 10. Transportation and logistics. All you need are critical thinking and multitasking skills. Story 11. I paid a locksmith $125 for about 90 seconds of work. I was happy to pay it because he was the 10th locksmith I called on a Saturday evening in July and the only one who was available. Story 12. I saw a man post about how he started with nothing and now has a $250,000 per year business repairing garage doors. That is all he does, and now he does not even do it himself, he just manages his employees. I know nothing about it, and I am usually very suspicious of anything anyone says here, but I believed him. Story 13. My neighbor, who has a master's degree in a field related to physical therapy, lost his business during COVID-19. He started cleaning hot tubs. He now has 4 trucks and had $400,000 in revenue last year. I'm not sure how much of that he keeps, but they just bought 2 new vehicles. I'm a court reporter. I dropped out of high school and earned my general educational development credential. I then attended court reporting school. I was able to buy my home and raise 4 children as a single mother. Story 14. I earn $80,000 a year with only a high school diploma, working in a unionized administrative support office. I am currently pursuing a bachelor's degree, and my employer is covering the full cost. Unionized jobs can be fantastic. Story 15. I have a college degree and am looking through this thread for advice on where to find a well-paying job. Story 16. Bartending. Honestly, if you find a good place and you know what you are doing, you can both be respected and make good money. I make about $35 an hour for a 40-hour week and genuinely enjoy what I do. Story 17. What about jobs that do not require proof of a college degree? Story 18. I assemble sheds for Lowe's, Home Depot, and Costco. Once you get used to it, it is pretty easy. I have all holidays off and can take time off whenever I want. It can be an easy 6-figure income if you do not mind physical work and not working when it rains. Story 19. You can work in information technology without any kind of college degree. However, it will be incredibly difficult to get that first job and it will pay very little. From there, it is partly luck whether you remain confined to answering phones and reading from a script. If you have a job where you can prove yourself, take on additional responsibilities, and upskill, you can work your way up slowly but surely. It is not an easy path, but I know several people who earn more than I do who never attended college. I am paid well. Even with a college degree, it took effort to work my way up to where I am now. Story 20. United Parcel Service Driver. The hours are difficult, but the benefits, including medical, dental, vision, massage, chiropractic, and acupuncture, and the pay make it worth it once you reach the top pay scale. It is an easy job that requires hard work. At the top pay scale, you can expect to make $130,000 per year with all of the mandatory overtime. Story 21. Network engineering, especially plant work, offers good jobs in fiber, coaxial cable, and power. A college degree in network engineering usually also requires professional certifications. Degrees alone are often not sufficient. Linux certifications, networking certifications, and Society of Cable Telecommunications Engineer certifications are relatively affordable and attainable with aptitude. Pay varies. Entry-level base pay is about $70,000 to $80,000, while experienced professionals can make $200,000 and up. Story 22. Go to your local trade union hall and ask about apprenticeship programs. They will usually train you for free to be an electrician or a plumber. Story 23. Bartender. When I was 21, I applied for a job at a bar and restaurant as a busser. I had never worked in the hospitality business. The owner said she did not need any more bussers. She needed bartenders. I told her I had no bartending experience, thanked her, and was about to leave when she said, "I'll hire you as a bartender. I can teach anyone how to make drinks. I can't teach people how to speak correctly. I don't want my servers to be bartenders. Do you want the job?" After a week of training and a month of getting the hang of things, I was making enough money to pay my bills in a couple of shifts, build up substantial savings, and still have more to spend than I needed. It did not require a college education. It required basic intelligence and a personality that fit the role. Story 24. I went to elementary and high school with someone who now runs a pressure washing business that cleans houses. Story 25. Custodial maintenance paid well when I was younger. It still pays decently nowadays. Story 26. If you are good at sales, you can relatively easily earn six figures working at mattress firm. Story 27. My son just got a job at the cheese factory where my husband and I met and used to work. We maxed out at $25 an hour from 2004 to 2006. He will max out at $32 an hour. Overtime is paid at time and a half if voluntary and double time if overtime is mandatory. There is an extra $2.50 per hour for night shift. I worked there for 2 years. My husband worked there for 15 years. It is an amazing job. You oversee machines all day and are on break about half the time. Unless something needs to be changed or goes wrong, it is easy money. When my husband was ready to leave, his employee-owned stock, which had been matched at 10%, was paid out. We used it to pay off our house and vehicle and did not touch his retirement savings. He was able to take 3 years off to help care for his sick father. My father, 2 uncles, and a cousin have worked there. I worked there but quit because of chronic illness. My baby brother handled their accounting, and my little sister operates a forklift in the cooler. My father has worked there for 28 years. He has 7 weeks of vacation a year. You start with 3 weeks of vacation and more time gets added over time. We live in a low cost of living area, so savings add up quickly. Since my son is 19 and lives at home, he only has to pay his practical car loan, which he is paying off early, and his car insurance. He should be able to save a good nest egg until he is ready to move out or pursue other plans. That is what my husband was able to do before we married and started our home. He stayed at home until we married and saved a lot. It is very easy. They make almost every kind of cheese you can think of except national brands like Kraft or Sargento. Many fast food chains use cheese produced by this company. Look into food factories. They are temperature controlled, pest-free, pay well, and offer steady work because people need to eat. Story 28. A career as a merchant mariner starts with low pay, but after about 5 years you could be earning more than $150,000 per year. Story 29. I am a self-employed tradesperson and an independent contractor who learned many skills along the way. I earn a decent income, work when I choose, and typically work 20 to 50 hours a week. I can say no whenever I want. People trust me and I get work by word of mouth. I have no advertising, no office, and little overhead. The best part is that I never have to miss any of my children's events. and that is what makes me rich. Story 30. Animal welfare varies between locations. The work is hell when you have to euthanize animals. I am a former animal welfare officer. Story 31. Front desk jobs usually do not require significant qualifications. Story 32. If you are going into any blue-collar trade, you need your own business, or the pay will not be great. The exception is brutally difficult or dangerous work. Underwater welders earn good money, but a single mistake can be fatal. Diesel mechanics also earn good pay, but the work is physically damaging. A handful of workers maintain large building air conditioning systems and earn good money, but those jobs are scarce. Consider public service. Pay starts low but increases over time. However, there is an active campaign against public service. Story 33. I make very good money as a union electrician. After 5 years of apprenticeship, you could be making $70 per hour, not including pension, annuity, personal savings, and dental, medical, and vision benefits. Granted, my local union pays higher than most others, but depending on where you live, there is definitely money to be made. It is not a career for the lazy. Story 34. There are many solid options if you do not want to go the college route. Skilled trades such as being an electrician, a plumber, or a heating, ventilation, and air conditioning technician pay very well and are always in demand. Truck driving is another option. Get your commercial driver's license and you are set. Real estate can also be lucrative once you are licensed. If you are more interested in technology, information technology support or cybersecurity can be entered with certifications instead of a degree. Sales is always an option, such as insurance or business-to-business sales, where your income depends on your effort. The key is exchanging a degree for certifications, apprenticeships, or hard work. Many people earn more money in these fields than people with a bachelor's degree. Story 35. I am a lineman. I made $270,000 last year. It is not a 40-hour-a-week job, but you do not have to work every overtime hour. Some linemen work every possible overtime hour and earn much more than I do. Story 36. None that do not also require some other kind of expensive training, certification, or education. Everybody whose knee-jerk reaction is the trades is fundamentally missing the point of the question. Story 37. I make $176,000 as a senior data engineering consultant in healthcare. I do not have a degree. Story 38. Utility linemen do not need a college degree. They climb poles and repair power lines after storms. So the work is physically demanding and dangerous and requires availability on a moment's notice. You receive large amounts of overtime during storm season. I work for a utility company. There were 3 to 5 linemen who earned more than $1 million in pay last year. You can work hard for about 10 years and make enough to retire in your early 30s. Story 39. President of the United States of America. Secretary of State for Health, Defense, and Foreign Affairs. Head of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. And many more. Story 40. The more important question is, how do I make money while I am sleeping? Story 41. My buddy who is an apprentice electrician is already making more than I did in my first office job. Story 42. For someone with no degree, driving a truck over the road can make a lot of money, but it is not as easy as it sounds. You live in your truck, the total living area is about the size of, if you are lucky and have a decent truck, a large bathroom. You go home for maybe 4 days every 8 to 12 weeks if you want. You work about 70 hours a week, currently the maximum allowed by the federal government. You deal with people who assume truck drivers are uneducated, which is often true. Some other drivers are openly racist and ignorant. Every truck stop has Fox News on every television, 24 hours a day. It is hard to form connections with other drivers. Even if they are not hostile, you will rarely see them again after leaving a truck stop or a Denny's where they talk to you uninvited. I took home $110,000 my first year and did not have to pay for my license training, so you can definitely make money if you are willing to deal with the downsides. After a few years of driving, assuming no major incidents, you become eligible for more reasonable driving jobs that can get you home every week or every day, that pay more and pay hourly including overtime. After 2 years, insurance costs for drivers drop enough that regular companies are willing to hire them. Story 43. Booking bathroom renovations. I work in customer service with some sales. It is considered a professional job in my town. Recently, I learned about someone who uses the exact same skill set I have but makes 3 times as much, about $150,000 a year. No degree required. His job is booking bathroom renovations, not selling them, just scheduling appointments. In my area, about 4,000 people a year renovate their bathrooms. He only needs to book around 104 in a year to earn $150,000. It is funny that my guidance counselor never mentioned working as a receptionist at a bathroom renovation company as a possible high-paying career. Story 44. Industrial maintenance. You can start at a company that hires without prior experience and advance within a couple of years, or take trade classes. Story 45. My son-in-law is a diesel mechanic, and he does very well. Story 46. If you move into management, retail is not a terrible job. At Target in California, assistant store managers can make over $100,000. Not immediately, but tenured managers can. As a regular supervisor, I was making $70,000 or more before I quit. Pay varies greatly by region. Target in Wyoming does not pay the same as Target in California, and salaries should be compared with local cost of living. Starbucks management can also pay reasonably well, although you generally have to work your way up and salary will vary by location. Some entry-level government jobs, such as postal positions, are relatively stable and reasonably well paid. In general, the strategy is to find a job where, if you perform well, you could eventually get your boss's position without a degree and then continue advancing. There are not many jobs that hire people with no experience or qualifications and pay very well. Your best options are to start in an entry-level role and move up, change employers to advance, or obtain education such as certifications or degrees. Story 47. To be honest, sales can generate a lot of income with low physical impact and high long-term earnings. Story 48. President of the United States of America. You do not have to know anything or tell the truth. Play golf whenever you feel like it and blame someone else for mistakes you have made or laws you have broken. It is cushy as fuck. Story 49. I have a college degree, but my boss does not, and he does not specifically look for degrees for this work. His main criterion is willingness to learn. We have a good mix of people with different experiences, and we work well together, building each other up and passing on skills. I work in electrical construction design. Entry-level workers make $17 to $22 per hour, and the next level makes about $30 per hour. We hired most of our people as assistants. Look for assistant positions with opportunities for growth. Also consider companies that are growing quickly. The people I work with found the job at the right time. When I started 5 years ago, we had about 10 people. Now we have 60. Story 50. People love to look down on essential jobs, but the truth is civilization relies more on sanitation workers, electricians, and mechanics than on 90% of prestige careers. Respect where it's due. Story 51. 1 locksmith. 2 knife grinder. 3 landscaper. My family member started a landscaping business around his neighborhood, grew it to a decent-sized crew, and expanded to other towns. His main clients are condominium associations, apartment complexes, office buildings, and schools and colleges. He added snow removal services for parking lots during the winter and was contracted by the county to clear residential streets. He now has a fleet of trucks performing those services. He added pool maintenance services for the summer for condominium and apartment complexes and residential clients, and he hired pool maintenance experts. He opened a nursery to supply the landscaping business. A few of their wives work there. About 7 years ago, he added a bricklayer and concrete team to install driveways. He is very wealthy at this point and has been in business for about 22 years. His landscaping now includes water features and a wide variety of beautiful installations. His gallery is fabulous. He grew from operating with a single mower, blower, and truck to a fleet with employees who have been with him for decades. Story 52. Being an electrician is peak trade work. The thing with trade work is that you have to put in the time. It becomes your life for 5 to 7 years. Factory jobs often pay well and provide great benefits. I'm pretty sure the parent companies are aware of how much it costs to live comfortably in the area and pay accordingly. I do maintenance in the Southeast. It starts at $30 an hour at my factory. You get raises at different points of tenure. Usually you get about a $1 per year raise for all positions for 4 to 5 years, plus another yearly raise for inflation and increased cost of living. I also talked to the forklift service technicians to compare rates, and the lead said he was making $45 an hour. He works about 60 hours a week, though. He has been trying to bring me on, but I'm not interested in that many hours again. I'm kind of lazy as far as trade workers go. 40 to 50 hours and benefits are perfect for me. Story 53. Bartending. If you are skilled and network effectively, you can make a lot of money. Story 54. I guess OnlyFans creator is the option everyone is thinking but no one is saying out loud. Story 55. Conservative influencer Jesse Lee Peterson shows you do not even need a middle school diploma to be considered a leading thinker on that side. Story 56. Insurance can pay well if you are good at selling. My best friend, a high school dropout without a general educational development certificate, makes twice, maybe even 3 times what I make. I am not college educated either. I have a high school diploma, which I know is not worth much these days. She dropped out in the 9th grade. She is just good at what she does. Much of her income is commission, but she knows how to sell. Story 57. My son is an electrician. As an apprentice, he made more than I did. Now, as a journeyman, he is earning more than his father, who has 2 master's degrees. Story 58. Consider any trade job in the United States. I would not recommend college in the United States today. Go to a trade or vocational school. I did it for surgical technology. Story 59. You can work in libraries without a college degree, but the way I have seen it work recently where I live in the United States is that you need to start in an entry-level position and try to get a promotion from an internal job posting that requires a general educational development certificate or a high school diploma. Story 60. Paralegals in real estate and personal injury can earn over $150,000 a year. Some states require certification, but few do. It will take time to gain expertise in those fields. Story 61. Decent paying job as a city bus driver. Picking up overtime hours and earning $100,000 per year. Passengers using crack or methamphetamine make the job difficult, though. Story 62. Sales can be a wild ride depending on what you are selling, but I have earned 6 figures in most years since becoming an adult. Whatever you do, do not go into insurance. You will make enough that you will be stuck, and it is soul-draining. Story 63. Private concierge for wealthy clients. A man I met said he got into it by accident while on holiday. He gave local tips to other tourists and warned them about hotel services to avoid because of bribes. They asked if he could help organize arrangements and obtain items. He jokingly agreed for a large fee, which they accepted without thinking. They called him again, and a friend did too, so the business grew from there. He rarely refused work as long as clients paid. The job is largely about networking, and he had always thought he wasn't good with people beyond small talk. Story 64. OnlyFans creator, cocaine dealer, hitman. No degree required, but longevity may be an issue. Story 65. You don't have to go to college to become a photographer. It helps to know what you're doing, and learning some Photoshop and Lightroom and understanding your camera's features covers the technical part. Everything else is about having an eye for art. Story 66. Watch an episode of Dirty Jobs. That was the whole point of the series. Story 67. Property management offers upward mobility and stability. I have been doing it for 20 years. I started leasing apartments at 18 for a rent discount and never left. Story 68. Working for the United States Postal Service is hard work, but all you need is a valid driver's license. It is federal employment with great benefits and a retirement package. Story 69. My wife managed a fairly large gas station and liquor store on the only highway through town. She worked at an airline as a customer service agent for a year and then applied for a job at a large international airport. That management experience led to a management position with the airline, which in turn led to a job with the airport authority. She has a diploma in travel and tourism, though it was not very useful. She has a strong resume and interviews well. She learns the interview questions in advance and prepares excellent answers. She is very personable, which probably helps. The airport authority where I live pays well because of a strong union. I would not have known about that if it were not for her. Essentially, find an organization and work your way up. I have 2 degrees but a fight-the-man attitude that has limited my mobility. Story 70. Get certified to operate a crane or other heavy machinery. I was not making much money in heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, but I heard crane operators were earning $50 to $60 per hour. Bulldozer and excavator operators earn more than $40 per hour on telecommunications projects. You usually learn everything on the job and can start at age 18. I have a degree in geology and earn less than those operators, but I am doing work I enjoy. Story 71. Sales. If you have a strong work ethic and are personable, you can make a lot of money. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.